Jake Turner had grease on his hands and a wrench in his grip when the black SUV rolled into his modest garage on the outskirts of Dallas. He didn't expect anything fancy. His clients were usually regulars, folks from the community who needed an honest mechanic. But when the door opened and a sharply dressed woman stepped out followed by a young girl in a battered motorized wheelchair, Jake paused. The girl's eyes met his, quiet and guarded. The woman introduced herself as Claire Whitman and explained that every expert they had tried failed to fix her daughter's wheelchair. Someone local had told her about Jake not because he fixed medical equipment, but because he never gave up on broken things. Jake wasn't a specialist, but something about the girl struck a chord. She looked no older than 10, her fingers twitching nervously over the armrest as the motors on her chair buzzed and clicked with no clear pattern. Claire didn't offer much detail, only that Lily had been unable to walk since an accident the previous year. Jake knelt beside the chair, inspecting the cracked casings and malfunctioning wheels. He didn't know much about medical chairs, but he saw engineering, and engineering he understood. He asked Claire to leave the chair with him. She hesitated but saw something in Jake's quiet confidence and agreed. That night, Jake stayed hours. Past closing. The wiring was a mess, patched up by technicians who didn't care or didn't know better. The frame was warped, the motor housing improperly aligned. He disassembled it piece by piece, laying each component on a clean sheet like a surgeon. Jake hadn't worked this meticulously in years, not since he lost his daughter. She had been curious like Lily, always watching him fix cars, asking endless questions about tools and wires. She'd passed away 3 years ago, and Jake hadn't been the same since the next day. Lily returned with Claire to check on the chair. Jake showed her what he'd done so far and even let her help solder a connection. Her face lit up for the first time. Claire watched in silence, surprised at her daughter's ease with the stranger. Lily asked questions, and Jake answered, like she was his apprentice, not a child in need. Over the next few days, they repeated this pattern. Jake would work. Lily would learn. Claire, for the first time in months, allowed herself to feel hoped out. By the end of the week, the chair was ready. Jake rolled it out and invited Lily to try it. She sat down hesitant, then maneuvered it across the lot. Smooth, steady, silent. And then, on instinct or determination, Lily did something unexpected. She pushed up from the seat with trembling arms and took 2 careful steps forward. Claire gasped, hands flying to her mouth as tears streamed down. Jake didn't move. He just watched, heart pounding, as the girl walked for the first time in a year. Claire stood frozen, watching her daughter take those fragile steps. Lily wobbled but didn't fall. Jake moved slowly beside her, just in case, but didn't reach out. He knew she needed to feel it herself, that she could do this on her own. The sun hit the garage just right, casting long shadows behind them, like memories being left behind. Claire broke down in sobs, her knees giving out as she sat on the garage floor, unable to believe what she was seeing. She had paid thousands to top specialists, traveled across states, and yet here at a dusty roadside garage her daughter was walking again. Jake didn't speak much. He simply crouched beside Lily and asked her, "How'd that feel?" Lily gave him the biggest smile he had ever seen and nodded. "I think I can do more." Claire came over and hugged them both, not caring about the oil on Jake's shirt or the dust in the air. For the first time since the accident, it felt like their lives were moving forward. She wanted to thank Jake, to offer him money, but he just shook his head. "I didn't do anything special. She did the work. I just fixed some parts." Later that evening, Claire invited Jake to dinner, a quiet thank you gesture. He hesitated. He wasn't used to being around people anymore, but eventually agreed. At their home, a stunning estate hidden in a quiet Dallas suburb, Jake felt out of place. But Lily gave him a tour proudly, showing him her books, her artwork, and even the therapy routines she'd been hiding from. Claire finally opened up, revealing how her husband had died 2 years ago, leaving her lost and Lily emotionally shut down. Jake's story mirrored hers, both haunted by loss, both raising children in their own way, both trying to heal. In the days that followed, Claire's friends and even the media got wind of the story. A billionaire's daughter walking again because of a small-town mechanic it was too good to ignore. Jake received hundreds of calls, some offering money, others asking for help. But Jake didn't care about fame. He only started fixing wheelchairs and mobility devices for local kids, turning part of his garage into a side clinic. Claire helped fund it anonymously. They stayed in touch frequently, and Lily visited every weekend, saying Jake was her favorite mechanic in the world. Months later, a community event was held, honoring Jake for his contribution. Claire and Lily attended front row. As Jake stepped up to accept the plaque, he glanced at them and smiled. It wasn't about recognition. It was about meaning something he'd thought he lost forever. He didn't fix just a wheelchair. He helped restore a child's spirit, a mother's hope, and unknowingly, his own purpose. From that moment, Jake's small garage wasn't just a place for cars. It became a place where broken things and people found a way to move forward again.